Example 1 says, write a linear equation for the table below. So before we look at the table, we need to know what a linear equation is and what it looks like. So a linear equation is in the form y equals mx plus b. Okay, and b, move it over a little bit, is our y-intercept. And m is our slope. And we can also write slope as the change in y over the change in x. So that's our end goal, is to write an equation that looks like this, but we know what our m and our b are. Okay, so let's figure out our b. That's the easiest one to find. Our y-intercept is always where x is 0, and x is 0 when y equals 3. So our b equals 3. That was pretty easy. Our m is a little bit more difficult to find on this one. So if we notice our change in y, well, before we look at our change in y, our change in x is not the same, and neither is our change in y. To get from 0 to 3, we add 3. But to get from 0 to 7, we add 4. And then to get from 7 to 10, we add 3 again. So it's not consistent, and we need to find consistency. So I'm going to delete all that. And I just want to focus on the ones, we had 2 plus 3s. So I want to focus on, okay, what happens to my y? What's my change in y when my change in x is plus 3? I'm only going to focus on 0 to 3 and 7 to 10 since they're both plus 3. So my change in x is going to be 3. So what's my change in y? So let's see. From 3 to 15, to get from 3 to 15, I have to add 12. Right? 3 plus 12 is 15. And then to get from 31 to 43, we also add 12. So my change in y equals 12. So my change in y divided by my change in x is 12 divided by 3, right? 12 divided by 3, which is 4. So my m equals 4. Now I have all the information I need to write my equation. So remember, my equation needs to be in y equals mx plus b form. So I have y equals, my m is 4 for x, and then my b is plus 3. And that's my equation. So that's how we use a table. For example 2, we're going to find the slope using a graph. And the question says, Majori bought a new car with some miles already clocked on it. She kept track of the miles she put on her new car each day as shown on the graph below. And we want to find the slope. So again, our slope is the change in y divided by the change in x. So our y-intercept, our y-axis is over here. So I'm going to pick 2 points, and I'm going to find my change in y and my change in x between those 2 points. So I'll just make it blue. You can pick any 2 points. I like to choose points that are next to each other. So I'm going to choose this point here, and this is a point as well. So what's my change in y? How do I get from this blue point to this blue point? It looks like I go up 1, but I'm not really going up 1. If I look at my numbers on the side, how far up am I going if I'm going halfway up between 400 and 500? I'm going up to 450. So I'm going from 400 to 450. So I'm going up 50, and I'm going over from 5 to 6. So I'm going over 1. So my change in y is 50, and my change in x is 1, and 50 divided by 1 is 50. So my slope is 50. So that's how we solve or write linear equations and solve for our slope using a table